What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on Yahoo with a 12-team half PPR mock where we will be selecting 10th overall. Should be pretty interesting, and while we wait for this thing to kick off, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter, X at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comments, your thoughts, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's dive into this thing. Jamar Chase, the first pick overall. Nothing too crazy, followed by Bijan Robinson, the typical 1-2 punch, whether it's in that order or reversed. We've grown accustomed to seeing that, followed by Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's pull up the draft board here so we can have a better view of this thing as it goes. Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm curious to also look at the draft rankings here. Justin Jefferson just went, but per Yahoo's rankings, Saquon, CD, McCaffrey ranked pretty highly. Nico, Amon-Ra, Malik Neighbors. Henry naturally ranked a little bit higher since it's only half PPR, but still, okay. So I've got kind of a feel for what to expect here. And let's see what we can pull off. If we can, probably we won't be able to nab. I was about to say, can we nab Christian McCaffrey? These running backs are starting to fly off the board like hotcakes. Nico Collins, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Malik Neighbors, all guys that I like. And I think if we go with one of these wide receivers, I mean, we definitely will be able to. We can then land one of these running backs that I really like as well in the second round. So maybe a Genty, maybe an Achane. Question is, which one of these wide receivers do we want to go with? Look, I like all of them. I'm probably lean Neighbors a little bit ahead of Amon-Ra. It's between him and Nico Collins. I feel like I've done more Nico Collins picks, so let's go with Neighbors here. I know he's a little bit banged up, but nothing serious. It's been minor tweaks, stuff like that. It's, not of huge concern. So, actually, a huge run on wide receivers, so glad that we went with the choice that we did in Neighbors. Nico Collins immediately afterwards makes sense. Amon-Ra, Drake London. Here, I would imagine we see a running back like Genty or Genty or Achane. Oh, Achane. Okay. So, I mean, that makes my pick a lot easier. I'm going Genty, and, I don't have to worry about the potential injury with Achane. Even though I'm still willing to take a gamble on him, on guys like Christian McCaffrey. Look, with fantasy football, guys, you go for broke. You're not playing for second or third place. You're playing for first. And right now, the expectation is both those guys are going to be available week one. It's a matter of how you construct your roster afterwards to potentially deal with injuries. Now, again, if your first and second round selections go down with injuries, then there's only so much you can do, but I think that there's handcuffs, there's other approaches, late round flyers that you can go with. Maybe if you go with McCaffrey, don't go with Achane as well. But again, it comes down to your risk profile and what you feel comfortable with. So I started with Malik Neighbors and Ashton Genty at the 10th spot. I feel pretty good about that. This is why I really kind of like this spot in drafts, like between 9, 10, somewhere right there. After Genty, it was Bucky Irving, then Puka. Puka may be falling a little bit because people are a little bit nervous with Matthew Stafford, but again, the expectation is he's going to be able to play the majority of the season. Josh Jacobs afterwards to pair up with Christian McCaffrey, and that's what I mean. Look, if you draft Christian McCaffrey, go and grab a solid running back in the second round that you can have as a backup. So Jacobs fits that bill. Then A.J. Brown, then Chase Brown. Chase Brown now being pretty much a second round selection. When we broke this down several months back, looking at guys that are going to have their ADPs go up significantly, like around this time, August, September, Chase Brown was on that list, and now, wouldn't you know it, he's basically a second round selection more often than not. Depending on the size of the leagues, Jonathan Taylor. So nothing too crazy. Kyron Williams. I really like our start. I think we have 2 tier 1 caliber players at both positions, wide receiver and running back. What I mean by that is, I think both Neighbors and Genty have the upside to finish as top 5 guys in their respective positions. It wouldn't be all that crazy if, you say Neighbors was wide receiver 5, Genty was running back 5 at the end of the year, if not higher. So we've got one more pick to go here in the second round. Brock Bowers was just selected at the 211. Let's see who by far and away are the best players. So, yeah, this is the point where we get to some guys potentially reaching if they've ignored positions. Like this guy just went James Cook at the end of the second round. I think that's way too early. Ladd McConkey seemed like a good value there. Let's look at other running backs, right? Yeah, I mean, is Omarion Hampton going to get pushed up that much and be okay. Early third round pick. I think that's a little bit overkill. Ladd McConkey, Hampton at the 302, McBride at the 303. I'm gonna make a guess and say we're gonna see some quarterbacks go here shortly. Josh Allen, Lamar, Jaden Daniels. But good thing is here, we have a lot of flexibility what we want to do in regards to, do we go wide receiver? Do we go running back? We didn't double dip in either position, so not going to have as much drop off in production there either. I'm looking at it right now, guys that I'll probably be targeting, Marvin Harrison, JSN. So much for Marvin Harrison. Maybe if one of those quarterbacks drops to us, then I can get a little bit frisky, but I'm assuming these auto picks will take care of that problem for us. Let's see if I'm right or wrong on that front. I'm trying to see any wide receivers here that, might be down boards. Yeah, there goes Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen's going to go here shortly. Terry McLaurin dealing with his situation, contract, negotiations. That's going to be interesting to keep an eye out for. T. Higgins still there, JSN, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek. Man, Tyreek scares me. I feel like with him, it's been just lower and lower these last couple of years in terms of finishes, reliability. I'm not too worried about the injury, but you could say something else about Tua's injury history. Tyreek, I'm kind of staying away from him. Jalen Hurts just went. It's our turn to make a selection. T. Higgins is still on the board. I mean, that's tempting. I'm not going to lie, but I kind of prefer a wide receiver 1. So I'm looking at JSN here. Jaden Daniels also, you could do worse. You know what? Let's get a little bit weird. Let's go with Jaden Daniels here at the end of the third round. I can't say that I've done this too often, so we're going to go with the rushing upside of a Jaden Daniels and see how this thing pans out. And then, depending on what's available to us in the fourth round, we can select best player available. I'm curious whether I'm going to like or absolutely hate this build, but I mean, our first 2 picks, love that. Third round pick, asterisk next to that, we'll see. Whoa, Kenneth Walker, Travion Henderson at the start of the... We are going rookie running back heavy. This guy, Henderson, RJ Harvey, T. Higgins just went. All right. So I'm between JSN, Garrett Wilson. How much do you trust Justin Fields, folks? How much do you trust the arm of Justin Fields? Let's take a flyer on Garrett Wilson. I feel like it's going to be up and down, but he's the number 1 guy. Not too much competition behind him. JSN, Cooper Kupp is there, but not too worried. It was close between him and JSN. I'm gonna ride with Garrett Wilson one more time. Let's see how that pans out. Hopefully, Justin Fields can return some of that magic with the Bears and DJ Moore's first year there. And Garrett Wilson can be that for him. Obviously, he's going to run a lot of, design plays, stuff like that. DK Metcalf, immediately afterwards. I like that pick. Evans, JSN, sure. And again, like, right, that's the conversation here to have. Like, we went Jaden Daniels instead of maybe a JSN or a DK Metcalf in the third round. We could have gotten a flyer at the quarterback position like a Justin Fields later on, if you want to go with another high rushing upside type of guy, and potentially been okay. So far in the third round, or excuse me, in the fourth round, like the stuff that jumped out at me was how early some of these rookie running backs are going. Hampton at the 302, Henderson at the 312, Harvey at the 4-1. Like, I understand that preseason hype is at a peak right now. So Travion Henderson, that value is up. Hampton as well, since Najee's still kind of TBD. RJ Harvey had some nice looks as well. But, I mean, I'm used to some of these guys going. I mean, Henderson is typically going to go a little bit later, in my opinion. But it is what it is. That's going to happen sometimes when, you ignore the position and then you're kind of forced into reaching a little bit, and especially when you're at the extreme. So that makes more sense here with Travion Henderson and RJ Harvey, and with Omarion Hampton. You have to get ahead of the curve, and those picks become a little bit more logical from that perspective. So far in the fourth round, after our Garrett Wilson selection, DK, Mike Evans, JSN, Breece Hall, Tyreek, Chuba Hubbard, Terry McLaurin, James Conner, and now Joe Burrow. Okay, so what are we working with here if we want to go with another running back? Running backs. Pollard, Monty, Pacheco. I don't mind Aaron Jones. We've kind of taken a, hero running back approach a little bit. And again, we could have gone with a running back instead of Jaden Daniels. I want to keep reminding you guys that this is kind of the issue you run into if you go with a quarterback or tight end early. That's why I prefer to, kind of avoid that. Other running backs that I think are misvalued here. Let's see. Kind of just scrolling. Where is Nick Chubb? Maybe I missed him. Yeah, Ja'Cory Merritt for Washington. That's an interesting one. Nick Chubb all the way down at 195. Like, he's going to get at some point for a couple weeks. He's going to have some value. Question is how long. Let's see if there's an update on Joe Mixon. Nothing so far. He still isn't recovering. He's a candidate for PUP, which means he misses the first 4 weeks. So, I mean, that's. Oh, Rashee Rice, we missed him, but he's dealing with his suspension potential. Nobody really knows how long it's going to go for. So I get it, right? Hawkinson just went. Let's see what took place here. So Porta, okay. A lot of wide receivers. I'm gonna go with a running back probably. I think Monty's not a bad choice. It's just like a solid number 2 guy. So let's go with Monty at this point in time. I think I can get him, and he can just kind of be a guy that puts up around 10-ish points, between 10 and 15 points every single week. Hopefully that's, what you get with him. High octane offense, right? So I will sit steady now here with the running backs. I'm going to look elsewhere, just best player available. I think that somebody like a Ridley, somebody like a Jameson Williams could have something to say about the situation. I'm kind of out on McMillan with he's a little bit banged up right now. Not so much because of the hamstring, but I just think there's going to be way too many mouths to feed in Carolina. And also, would it shock you if the Panthers just kind of, fall flat and we see Bryce Young of old? Not too much. I think Calvin Ridley could potentially be, a sneaky pick here. Odunze is somebody that I think is intriguing. Let's take a chance on Calvin Ridley. Let's see what happens. Again, we could have also gone Aaron Jones. I think there was a conversation to be had about that. Yeah, I think maybe in retrospect, Aaron Jones would have been a better pick, honestly. But it's all right. We live and we learn. So far, I really love our first two picks, again, with Malik Neighbors, with Genty. We went with Jaden Daniels. We went a little bit off the cuff in the third round. Then we were able to land Garrett Wilson. So a lot is going to come down to, I would say here, what we get from our fourth and fifth round selections in Garrett Wilson and Monty, like how big the drop off is from Neighbors to Wilson and Genty to Monty. We can find a serviceable flex guy at some point in time in the draft and waivers, stuff like that. So I went with Ridley, right? Jameson Williams was in contention there. Sutton, Hunter, DeAndre Swift, Caleb Johnson, Patrick. Yeah, I probably should have gone Aaron Jones. He goes at the 6'9", McMillan at the 6'10". So far, nothing too crazy. I would say pretty standard draft. Not too many surprises. Let's see. Odunze still on there, still on the board. Somebody that I like. Jordan Mason. I like Jordan Mason. I just think the ADP is a little bit too high for a guy that is a backup right now. Now, granted, he is one of my favorite handcuffs, but also a little bit tough to draft him if I, right now, if I don't have Aaron Jones this early. I don't know about that Joe Mixon pick there, 73rd overall. He's going to be intriguing all, between now and the start of the year. That's going to be something to keep an eye out for. Odunze, if he's there, I might go with him. Tyrone Tracy, Scatterbo, dealing with a little bit of banged up right now. Brian Robinson, who knows if he's actually going to get traded, if he's going to get released. So that's another thing to keep an eye out for. I think that he probably ends up being on the team when the season starts, but I'm not, I can't be 100% sure. Tight ends, what are we looking at? Njoku, I like Njoku. I might go in that direction with our 8th round selection, honestly, so that I can kind of put together the bulk of our roster. You can get an idea of what to expect, and we don't run into a situation where we see a lot of guys start drafting kickers and defenses, because we've got some auto picks, and this is right around the range, 8th, 9th round, where you might start to see that. Tyrone Tracy just went, so yeah, he will not be on the board when we are making a selection. So right now, yeah, Odunze's probably at the top of my list. Evan Ingram just went. Baker Mayfield just went. Maybe I go, does this guy have a tight end? He does not have a tight end. Maybe we go with Njoku first. I like Njoku personally. So I probably do that here, honestly. Let's see what happens. Yeah, let's just get ahead of it. I'm going to draft Njoku right now. Our starting roster is complete. Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Garrett Wilson, Genty, Monty, Njoku, and Calvin Ridley. Now we start to load up on best players available. So now is the Rome Odunze, if he's there. Yeah, I'm not shocked that he's not there. Judy, I don't think that's a bad choice with Flacco throwing the football. Jacoby Myers, just a solid performer, right? Tank Bigsby, getting a lot of hype going into, right now into that new system. Unfortunately, no, Jerry Judy's still there. Yeah, I'm going to go with Jerry Judy. Let's see how this thing pans out. Judy and Njoku. Jacoby Myers, again, he was another guy that we could have targeted. Here, other running backs that I like. I mentioned some of them. Tank Bigsby, Nick Chubb later down the board. So I think that both those guys, Jordan Mason at this point in time becomes now this is more where I'd be willing to draft him, but he's not going to get back to us. Wide receivers. Yeah, Stephon Diggs, I think, could be sneaky. Stephon Diggs. Yeah, if Stephon Diggs is there, I'd be interested in taking a chance on him. So after Judy, it was Jacoby Myers, Tylen Warren, Brian Robinson, Ramondre, Debo, Jordan Mason. Okay. So that pick there with Jordan Mason is a little bit more. And see, like, it's the guy that drafted Aaron Jones. Yeah. So that checks out. Unfortunately, you're basically losing one bench spot because you're not going to start Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. But at the same time, you know that Aaron Jones is probably going to get hurt at some point during the year. So you have Jordan Mason. Unfortunately, Stephon Diggs just went. We're going to make one last pick here, right? In the 9th round, and we're kind of going to wrap it up. In retrospect, again, this kind of highlights why I don't like going quarterback early on. If I hadn't gone Jaden Daniels, I could have gone with a Kenneth Walker, or, again, a T. Higgins, a DK Metcalf, something like that. And then, like, I'd be fine getting let's see the quarterbacks that are still left on the board. Yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray's still there. Like, this is what I mean. This was why the idea of you don't pay the premium for the guy that after they broke out, right? So this is why everyone was like targeting Jaden Daniels last year as a rookie when, as a flyer on him. I'd rather get the discounts those position and a tight end. So that's my takeaway from this here. Let's make one last pick, though, and we're going to wrap this thing up. So let's see who is still there. Who are the guys that were selected? So, yeah, okay, Tank Bigsby went, unfortunately. One more pick here. Let's see. I'm going to look at the wide receivers. Nobody that I love. Godwin, Pup, so kind of going to avoid him. Running backs. I think we just go to the running back situation and we go with one of these guys that's ranked very low. Somebody like a Braylon Allen. I don't mind Braylon Allen. I think that's going to be, it's going to be a committee, but it's going to be a situation. Oh, did we just have Ja'Cory? Yeah. Okay, we did. We did. So, we could go Austin Eckler here. We could go Nick Chubb. He's going to be starting running back for, where is Nick Chubb? Did he already go? No, he's still there. Yeah, so likely to be RB1 if Mixon misses time. Yeah, so he's definitely a flyer. Let's take a flyer on him, Nick Chubb, whatever. And then here maybe we go with Austin Eckler. If you really believe that Brian Robinson is not going to be there, Eckler is still going to be involved as the pass catcher. So, yeah, maybe we go in that direction. I also like Braylon Allen, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, let's come on now. Make your last pick. Make that last pick, buddy. Yep, we get Austin Eckler. That kind of rounds out the squad. Pair him up with Jaden Daniels there, a little stack flyer. Let me know your guys' thoughts if you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button, subscribe. Let us hear it in the comments. Give us a follow on Twitter at X at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.